Justice League issue 14. James Tynion. No, it's not. It's just Snyder. This one. Isn't
Snyder.
it?
Yeah.
No, it's co-written.
It's co-written.
Is it?
I think so, because I noticed when I was reading Snyder's having a lot of co-writers.
No, you're right actually.
As of late. Yeah.
Snyder
and Tynion.
Yeah. Interestingly, Tynion's not on the cover credit, which is why I thought it wasn't.
But he gets on the title page, he gets credited with words, but him and Snyder's story. So I'm noticing this a lot more, and I don't know if Snyder's just
I wonder if this is just because it's double shipping and Snyder keeping up with it and planning all the events. He just needs help.
It's because he's got a promotion in the works and he's planning for things.
Maybe. So Thanagar Prime. This is where we go to Thanagar Prime. We come back to Hawkgirl, Jean, and John, and they're on Thanagar Prime.
Yeah, this is the bulk of the issue.
This is the bulk. There's a lot about the start and the end with the rest of the team and Starman's head lighting up, but for the most part, and obviously Jarrow's calling Batman Pop. He's like, I'm tough. I'm tough just like you, Pop.
Yeah. Oh man, Jarrow's the best.
So, but the main plot is on Thanagar Prime, and so I'm curious. You two have been reading Hawkman. Mm-hmm. Does any of this make more sense to you because you've been reading Hawkman?
Yes, it does.
It does. Interesting.
So this is how I settled my brain as I was reading. Timey-wimey, because as we learned in Interstellar, gravity and space and stuff affect dilation of time. So I feel like through travel through Interstellar,
as humanity learned through Christopher Nolan's Interstellar.
Let me clarify. As I learned in Interstellar, because quantum physics, don't get me. Pete was talking. He's great in math. I'm the opposite.
I like how Einstein's relativity just got reduced to as we learned in Interstellar.
Yeah, but because I feel like Interstellar did a really good job at explaining to me how gravity affects time. As we know in Hawkman, he's jumping, he's been jumping in through time and space and we know that now because he made that deal in the afterlife.
Yeah.
To even out all the lives that he took.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I feel like Kendra makes a big deal that her and Shayra are the same person, so they shouldn't be able to coexist.
Well, let's explain this because we kind of jumped ahead. We've not even said what's going on yet. So they're on Thanagar Prime, and Shayra Hall shows up, who should technically be a previous version of Kendra. And then, of course, by the end, once they realise that Shayra's hiding stuff and that the Martian, the Elder, is actually alive because they said he was dead, Savage Hawkman shows up, who's Qatar Hall, who, of course, should be a previous version of Carter Hall.
Shayra, we haven't covered any of her stuff in Hawkman yet as to why she reincarnates, whereas Hawkman, it's established that he is reincarnating across space and time,
right?
So he can literally be anywhere at any point in time,
right?
So the fact that he can be reincarnated as two versions at the same time is not implausible.
Well, no, not just that. I feel like we're in a different time with this. So these are the previous versions, but through timey-wimey, they're interacting.
I'm not saying I have a problem with this, but I am going to say that this explanation feels like just a bullshit way of saying this means that any Hawkman writer can do any Hawkman they want, because they can be multiples at the same time.
I think it is, because Hawkman's such a tangled mess of continuity.
Mm-hmm.
John's is just kind of going, well, they're all
Venditti
correct.
just kind of went,
and then Venditti's like,
you can do whatever you want.
Venditti's like, yeah, they're all correct, plus I'm going to add a Kryptonian, plus I'm going to add a microverse, and
of course
you guys are going to like it. So
such a good book.
But I feel like these are, I don't want to say versions, but these are them,
So
just in a different context.
When they've traveled to Thanagar Prime, they've slipped into the past, or this version of Thanagar Prime is stuck in the past, like it's
because they talk about that there's the wings around it.
Yeah, it's hidden. It's out of phase of the rest of the universe.
And so because it's out of phase, they're out of time and they're out of space. So these ones can always I don't want to say occur here, but this is where they are.
Yeah.
So they are Shira Hole and they are Qatar Hole, and either they've been warped by the Dark Multiverse, or they are just going to protect whatever they're hiding like it's their life. They don't care who shows up. They don't care if someone claiming to be the next hot girl is there with a Martian and a Green Lantern.
Yeah, and also, to be fair to it, that is part of the central mystery of what's going on here.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a huge problem right now.
No.
It's like, no, this is... They're going to give some form of explanation over the arc.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, it's not that confused. This wasn't like Batman where I was having trouble, like, what the hell's going on here? It was just, okay, all right, so we have...
How is this happening?
No, but I just...
Honestly, here's the thing that makes it work. It's because Kendra herself says, I don't understand why this is happening. This shouldn't be right. She's like a past version of me. Because the character feels that way, I don't feel alienated. Because the character feels that way, it feels like that's how I'm supposed to feel, and it feels like I'm along with her for the ride, and that's fine. My favourite beat in this whole issue, though, might be Kendra trying to get Jean to dance, and Jean being like, nah.
Yeah, Kendra being like, look, I've reincarnated more times than you can count. I've danced in every civilization. Yeah. Come on, let's go do it.
My favorite beat is John trying to figure out why they're off of the system and what the deal with the Guardians is. Because even though he's told to leave it, the soldier in him's like, nah, that's not my mission.
Yeah.
So also him admiring the architecture that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that was cool.
Metal.
Yeah,
it's just such a small beat, but it's like, yeah, of course
it makes sense. I also like that during the part, because the emotional scenes between Kendra and Jean, talking about the dancing, but also it's where Jean kind of admits, because she says, yeah, but what about Miss Martian? She's a Green Martian. He's like, no, she's not, and he explains, who she is. And that was the important stuff. I love when they call in John because Kendra, touches Shira and she gets like a vision of like the fact that they're lying to them.
Right.
I love that John is just chatting up random alien chicks at the party. He's not even doing anything important. That's all he's doing.
He's trying to get information about the deal with the Guardians.
Yeah.
Nah, he's chatting up chicks.
I think I think he has to channel Hal though, because that's not who John is.
Yeah, if this was Hal or Guy. Yeah, he's just chatting up the chicks.
He is under the precedent that he's pumping for information, but he's just really trying to pump. That's all that's happening.
Wow.
See, I feel like you are misjudging John as a character.
Me too.
I'm just saying, the way he's holding that drink and he's chatting up the ladies.
John carries a torch for Katmatui, please. He is not trying to get any other alien skirt. But no, I liked a lot of the character beats in this one. This was a nice change of pace from where we've been because, like... The last issue we all agreed was pretty ungood.
The last one was rough.
Yeah, and then before that, like Dragon was fine, but it wasn't like, hey, like
that was fun. So, I mean, the art was kind of all over the place, and it made me wish that Fraser Irving was on the whole thing. But like, I thought it was a big fun pulpy event. I had fun with that.
So, but here also we get some more of Starman and Jaro.
Worth noting, different artist as well.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because different places.
Yeah, that's fine. What I liked about, or not liked, but what I noticed here is that Starman starts to flare up as stuff's happening on Thanagar Prime at the end. It feels like it's linked. It feels like he's, starting to light up and go nuts because of what's happening in Thanagar Prime.
I also like that Superman comes in and sees that Batman has put Jaro on Starman.
And it's like, what the hell are you doing?
Flips out and rips it off, and Jaro yells, "My tentacles!"
Tentacles.
Tentacles. And like
because they're basically saying to Batman, his mind has been booby trapped by Lex Luthor for any psychic invasion. Right. So you're linking yourself to Jaro, and by proxy Starman, you're doing serious damage to yourself.
I do like that Batman was like, "Hey Jaro, you all right?"
Yeah.
He checked in.
Batman does have compassion for sidekicks. He wouldn't have so many if he didn't. Wait a minute. He wouldn't have so many if he didn't. That's not true. Because he'd just have one if he had more compassion for sidekicks.
I don't know. He'd have at least 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but no, I like that backplot there that ties it there because Batman's all upset that the totality got stolen. And whatnot. So
yeah, he blames himself. He's like, I'm the one who let them get to the totality because I couldn't take them out. Even though my arms and legs were broken, he won't accept defeat because he's Batman. So that was. I liked that this issue kind of slowed things down a bit. It gave us obviously the big cliffhangers at the end, but for the most part, it was just them dealing. Okay, what's going on here in Thanagar Prime? That is just kind of slow down and get.
There's a lot of little character beats.
Yeah, because I think one of my main faults with this book at times is sometimes that it's doing so much big shit and spouting so much exposition that it needs to cool down. And
yeah, I know. Snyder did say it was going to slow down and do character moments, and there's sometimes you don't necessarily believe that. It could be just false sense of security till the big thing happens.
Yeah, because I will say this. I will say I don't expect slow moments in the arc in March, whatever it was called. I can't remember now. Sixth Dimension.
But that's a 3-issue arc. You tell one big tight story. That's fine.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a 3-issue arc because of the covers. It could be 6 and there could be 2 of those, but I mean, who knows?
I mean, there could be. Yeah. I'm assuming 3 because of that.
Yeah, which makes sense. It's a solid logic, but
yeah.
But no, it was because obviously we have went without like these 3 characters for the whole last arc, so it was nice to catch up with them again.
Yeah, definitely.
And the fact that what they're doing is really interesting, and it's kind of what I signed on to Justice League for. Was all this type of stuff, so it got right back into that groove, and I really appreciate that. It's funny because me and my friend Jared were talking about how Justice League's kind of faltering and it's on shaky grounds with him. Like I can never quit it because of the show, it's a flagship book. But he was like, yeah, if this issue's not good, I'm done. And then he read it and messaged me. He's like, okay, I'm still in for it now.
Yeah, well, I don't think you were faltering though, right? Like you wouldn't have
it was
considered.
one.
I wasn't.
Issue.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't, but I wasn't excited. Like it wasn't.
Sure,
it's like usually the first book I read, but I'm like, after that Joker issue. Well, this wasn't the first issue I read.
That's what happens after you have a random third of an issue. You just don't feel that excited for the next one. But
that issue is so strange. It was such a strange issue, and it's weird. Look at this is back on top form. Tynion's just as involved in this issue as he was.
I feel like that was like a weird issue that was there to keep the double shipping up when they should have just probably taken half a month off.
Yeah, I agree.
It's maybe the one thing that we should give Marvel credit for is that they do 3 issues over 2 months.
When it needs it.
Yeah. Or I like to think of it as a 3-week schedule. That's not always true, depending on how it's scheduled, but kind of the idea you get an issue every 3 weeks instead of every 4 weeks.
Yeah, the idea that they'll double ship and then single ship, and alternate like that, and then it means that it doesn't get quite as rushed, but you still get issues at a pretty good pace.
Yeah, it feels quicker, but it doesn't feel. Yeah, so that's what it is. But no, it was a solid issue. Justice League. What are you giving it, Matt?
Yep, coughing. It's an 8.
It's choked him up.
I like the art. Yeah, I can't believe I did that. Yeah, it's an 8.
Yeah, what are you giving it, Connor?
Yeah, I'm going with an 8 too.
I will also give it a straight 8. I think it was solid.
Ooh.
There you go. Trifecta.